Some of us met in 2019. It's a fantastic learning center here, Lille Learning Center, so the library of the University of Lille. I am myself Perrine de Coatlogon. I work for the French government in the European blockchain service infrastructure. And also I am a member of the board of Open Education Global. These two subjects for me are completely connected, and I hope to carry on to interconnect them within the year. We have done already a lot of things here. This is for 5 p.m. later if you want to hear more about it. And now I will introduce you the Vice President of International Relations of the University of Lille, Kathleen O'Connor, please.
Hi, good afternoon to all of you here today. Thank you very much. I'm not one for long speeches, so don't worry. I know you have a lot of work to do. So I'm very happy to be here on behalf of our president, Régis Bordet, to welcome you here to the Liliade at the University of Lille. And it's a great pleasure to have you here for the 20th edition of the ePIC conference, dedicated to a human-centered approach to technology with its theme From Recognition to Empowerment. So as stakeholders in higher education, I think we are all committed to the goals of empowering our students and recognizing their achievements, regardless of their ultimate attainment. So I think this is a very timely topic. And it's impressive, 20 years. I have a very difficult time when Perrine told me that these concepts about e-portfolio, identity, and these sorts of questions go back for 20 years. So I think this just shows how visionary the ePIC was and remains as well with these conference and forging new paths in open recognition and open education. And we've seen just how far these ideas can come. So we have the recent common framework for micro-credentials in the European higher education area, which shows that the interest in open badges is growing more and more all of the time, and as are the multitude of other initiatives that have developed since then. Since 20 years ago. So, for example, yesterday marked the 10th anniversary of the Groningen Declaration on lifelong learning, interoperability, and learner-centeredness worldwide. There's also the Digital Credentials Consortium and groups like the W3C Verifiable Credentials Education Task Force and initiatives. They aim to achieve the interoperability of digital credentials in order to make them useful in a variety of contexts. And finally, there's the Diploma and Educational Credentials use case from the European Blockchain Partnership, which has taken up the concept of self-sovereign identity. And regarding this latter project, I'm particularly proud of the role played by the University of Lille. I encourage you, as Perrine already said, to find out more this afternoon at 5 o'clock when the University of Lille will present the digital transformation of its academic programs office. And this has led to the issue of nearly 30,000 verifiable credentials. And these credentials will soon be sent in e-wallets compatible with the European blockchain service infrastructure, and we will also present our projects on open badges. I'd like to take a little time then to talk a little bit about the University of Lille for those of you who don't know us. So we're a comprehensive public university. We have approximately 80,000 students and nearly 8,000 faculty and staff on 24 sites. So you're on our Cité Scientifique site, which is our science and technology faculties, but we have a total of 24 sites with 4 main campuses. And we are fortunate to be one of about 15 universities awarded a label of excellence through the National Investments for the Future program. And we are involved in a number of programs related to the digital transformation of education, including our Erasmus Plus project Dial for You on inclusion and language learning. We also offer over 30 academic diplomas linked to the digital transformation and have over 200 researchers working in this domain. So I invite you to consult our website, which is dedicated to the digital transformation, for more information. So unfortunately, I can't stay with you today, but before I let you go, I would like to thank the organizers of the conference, in particular my colleagues at the University of Lille and at the Liliad Learning Center for all of their hard work. And I congratulate you for this 20th anniversary conference, and I wish you all the best for a successful and fruitful conference. Thank you very much.
Oh, we have microphones. Yes. So I have the great pleasure in welcoming you to this 20th conference. We started in 2003 in Poitiers, and in 2004, our colleague Don joined us, and he has been with us all the time. And this is with Don that I discovered Open Badges. It was in 2012. And not long after, we had Doug. Doug is here, and attended our conferences in the UK. It was, I don't know, in Greenwich and also in London, yes, to speak to us about Open Badges, introduce us to badges. So, and after that, with Nate, we went together to Washington to defend the idea of a more open approach to recognition. At the time, I remember we described, we said that Open Badges were user-centered. I said, yes, they are centered as if someone is in front of a fire squad. So it was not really user-centered, it was in fact centric on the organization at the time. That was a criticism we started to develop, and that brought us to the idea of open recognition. Then we met Simone. Simone is here, yes, and Simone came at an all-time low of the conference. It was in 2015 in Barcelona, and you said, you should go to Bologna. Bologna is a great city for a conference, and then we decided to go to Bologna. And while we were organizing the conference, preparing the conference with my wife Esther, coming back from Bologna and discussing about the Bologna Open Recognition Declaration, the Bologna Declaration, which was about creating a European space for higher education. Esther said, maybe you should do something about having your own declaration of Bologna, which is something that we did together with Nate and Don. And Don, how did we do that?
Yes, we did it en route from Joigny to Bologna in the back of Serge's car. I had my Android, and we were talking back and forth, and that was the first draft, somewhere in the Alps.
Yeah, somewhere in the Alps, yeah. So, and of course, open recognition wouldn't exist with people like Philippe, who was at the origin of Badges la Normandie. So basically thinking about an ecosystem that was worthy of badges. So, and that, why is it open recognition so popular in France now? A lot of people use the concept of open recognition in France, a bit less in the rest of Europe. A bit more now in the US, because we have friends in the US who are developing their own chapter of open recognition. There is Julie and Nate who are leading it. And of course, what happens is when we had our conference in Bologna, you can see here it was in 2016 when we had the declaration of Bologna. We had many people from France. We came, and at the time we had Perrine, who was at the conference. We had also Caroline Bélan-Ménagier, and so also someone from the CRI, the Center for Interdisciplinary Research, which is now the Learning Planet Institute, was there. It was Gaël Magui, and decided, why don't you come back in France for the conference? And we said, yes, it's happening so many interesting things in France, so we should have our conference in France. We had it first at the CRI, then in 2019 here. During 2 years, it was COVID. It was at a distance, and now we are very happy to have all you back here to really interact and discuss together about open recognition.
And what a long, strange trip it's been, right? So, I just speaking from my point of view, I came to Open Badges through ePortfolio, and I was becoming frustrated with ePortfolio. And so when I heard of Open Badges starting in 2011, I was very interested. And one of the things that made me interested was the fact that I was in Canada. The head of Mozilla Foundation is a Canadian, Mark Sermon, who lives in Toronto. Years before, he was helping me tell my stories in video for community cable as a producer, community cable producer. So for me, that gave it credibility, and it helped me also the fact that you see 2007, the declaration. He was part of the Shuttleworth Foundation back then. So I had followed him through the Shuttleworth Foundation. Then when I heard of these badges, for me that made a big difference and a credible way forward. And so brought it to Serge. He probably would have discovered badges in another 2-3 months, but I have a little bit of credit there. I would say for me now, it still inspires what we do. I think the language is good. I was just rereading it before today. There's a couple of things I might sort of tweak a bit, but overall, I think it's quite strong. It's actually a foundation of something that's going to be presented later, which the Inter-American Development Bank Digital Credential Framework. It's a part of the manifesto of the Inter-American, the IDB Digital Credential Framework, just as the open, I can look right here, just as the Cape Town Declaration was a foundation of the BORD. It's also obviously another presentation that's happening, the Open Recognition Work Group of the Open Skills Network and Keep Badges Weird, also a foundation for that. So for me, recognition of prior learning that was ePortfolio becomes grateful to Nan Travers, who's going to be talking about Credential as you go. Recognition of learning that need not be prior, can be current, can be even forward-looking. But now Serge is just talking about recognition. So we're losing letters. We've got one left. Leave it at that.
Yeah, thanks, Don. It's worth definitely recognizing those who have informed this movement over the years. I'm Nate Otto, I'm the creator of the Badger platform, and I joined Open Badges because I was inspired by the possibilities for telling new stories about recognition that were not being heard through the existing channels for educational achievement, from the formal higher education, the big black box of a degree that was, the gold standard for recognition before badges came along. And so it's worth remembering that all these voices that we're talking about, many of whom are represented here in this room and in our personal networks, are all about enabling and empowering individuals to be able to tell the story of their experience from wherever it comes. And that's the spirit that we take forward into the next several years of development of open recognition. But what we're increasingly seeing is that the focus of our work is not just as we have shifted from the organization as the recognizer to enabling anyone to recognize openly, we can actually shift from the individual as the focus of recognition to the community. And understanding how recognition is a process that helps communities be built, be improved, and to understand themselves over time. I think this will be the challenge that we take forward in the next several years. And as a software developer myself, I think of how to build good software. Good software is built one piece at a time rather than all at once. Because if you attempt to build, design up front, here are all the things that this piece of software needs to do. Here's exactly how we'll do it. We'll talk to every stakeholder and come up with every possible eventuality, and our design document binder becomes thicker and thicker. It becomes impossible to complete those goals within your budget. But if you can find ways to accomplish individual small steps forward, where each step delivers new value to your users, you learn every single release that you make about what step you should take next. And you can, more carefully and more successfully, build your way toward the destination, even if you didn't understand where that destination would be when you set out on your journey. So I'm really excited to see this increased discernment of the community of practice as, where we can focus our energy in accessing the opportunity of open recognition as we go forward. And I'm really grateful for all the people who are joining us live here in Lille and those who have been with us for the last several years as signatories to the Open Recognition Declaration and as participants sharing in this journey toward discovering what open recognition can do to help us understand our communities and to build them and make them better.
Quick question. How many people have signed the Bologna Open Recognition Declaration? Okay, that's good. Room to grow. That's good.
One last point about recognition. We tend to see recognition as something we want to be recognized. And I would like to share with you a thought experiment. Some of you have already heard it. Imagine someone was imagine there is such a thing as the recognition capital. And imagine that someone with no recognition capital at all. Okay, it's totally fictive because you can't have none. Would it be just with your immediate colleague? But imagine someone with no recognition capital at all, recognizing a person. And this person accepts this recognition. That means that my own recognition capital has increased. So recognition capital increases geometrically. It's always multiplied by 2. Unlike knowledge, if you share knowledge with someone, it doesn't increase knowledge. It distributes knowledge, doesn't increase knowledge. So there is a real power here. Now imagine that this person, having been recognized, do something she wouldn't have done before. That means that this person has been empowered. That means I am empowered because now, even through someone else, I've been able to act on the world, to make something on the world that was not possible before. So I think really we need also to think about recognition as an emancipatory practice. It's not just something that we claim, want to be recognized for our skills, knowledge, or that. The power we have to recognize, we should retake it and use it for our own emancipation and the people we love, even the one we don't love that much.